You look at last year, Justin Herbert just absolutely, launching into that. I mean, he's in my top 10 right now. He's number 10 in the league at quarterback for me, but he's in the top 10. But it almost seems like with everything Herbert did, it's important to realize that Joe Burrow is just as talented and will be back and will have better weapons because he just got Jamar Chase to go with a guy that's already so underrated and so very good in Tyler Boyd, and they got T. Higgins. So, what are your thoughts going into this year about those two guys? Because I think we're looking at a closer debate, moving forward than people are ready to discuss because of how good Herbert was and recency bias. But I love Herbert and I love Burrow. I would say those two, don't be surprised if they're neck and neck over the course of their careers.
Yeah, they both went to organizations that have really gone through a lot of change over the years. You think back to when LA Chargers were in San Diego, they had a model of consistency. They went from Drew Brees to Phillip Rivers, so there really wasn't any kind of drop off. Really, they were perennial playoff teams. And then you look at the Bengals, they had Andy Dalton for so long, and before everything just pretty much fell at the bottom for Cincinnati. Both quarterbacks, I think it's hard to compare them, because their play styles are a little bit different. Obviously, Herbert's the more athletic one, the bigger one, the bigger arm. But you look at Burrow, he's one of those quarterbacks that are like, he may not have the greatest arm, he may not be the most athletic, but he's one, tough as hell, and then two, he just has that feel to play in the NFL. Like he may not be ever the greatest at his position, but when he plays, he makes magic happen because that's just how he plays. He's going to be tough. He's resilient. And I really hope he comes back off the ACL tear and comes back really strong. But when you look at both of these guys, one being, you look at the Chargers, I mean, they have a bevy of talent, man. They got a lot of talent at receiver. They have Keenan Allen, who is a top 10 receiver and still underrated by a lot of people.
Yes.
And they just got the new head coach, Brandon Staley. And I think that's going to be very beneficial because they're going to, fix that defense because that defense lost them a lot of games last year. And then two, you now have a chance to really grow your young quarterback. Now, I'm the believer that I don't think Justin Herbert lights the world on fire like he did last year. I think there's going to be a little bit of kind of growing pains. You're kind of under a new scheme. You're under, you have a lot of different, things around you now. And I think he's going to have to do a little bit less. I think they're going to try and rely more on that running game. Obviously, he can sling it all over the yard, but they need some semblance of a running game to really keep a defense honest. So I don't think he's going to be putting up as crazy stats as he did last year. But for Burrow, I think now that he's had that experience now in NFL and now he's upgrading weapons, I think he has a much better efficient year. And we saw this in college with Burrow. First year under a new scheme, didn't look the greatest, and then obviously you bring in I can't believe I just lost Joe Brady. You bring him into LSU and they explode. I think we see a similar thing there where he really bounces back and has a great season. And looks like the number one pick that we all thought he was going to be. So for me, it's like, I know there's been a lot of debates and people are saying now, looking back, maybe they should have took Herbert one instead of Burrow. But I think Burrow shows this year why he was the number one pick, has better weapons now. And I think they're going to be a little bit better on offensive line. Still worried about that offensive line in general. I also worry about Herbert's offensive line too, because, they're both like, they have a few guys, but it's not really a cohesive unit. And I just worry that, they both are going to be under a lot of pressure. But I think, Burrow definitely takes a step forward and looks a lot better and looks like above average quarterback as opposed to what he was last year. And you know, he wasn't bad last year, but he was running for his life a lot. One and two, he just didn't have that full training camp. And I think a lot of people don't even take that into account with some of the rookie quarterbacks last year. They didn't have that full time to really develop chemistry and develop kind of that timing down and whatnot. So you saw guys kind of going on the fly and being kind of just thrown into a situation. Like Burrow was expected to start right away and be great, but you don't have that timing down. You don't have a great offensive line. I mean, you're going to look like you did last year. And then Herbert, his ability to extend plays helped them so much. You know, his athletic ability really helped him so much as a rookie. So I think both guys have really good seasons. I think Burrow probably has a little bit of a better season because when he has a lot more to prove, and then two, I think he's just going to have more time to develop chemistry with his guys. So I expect both of them to have solid seasons. I don't think it's going to be a situation where either of them are going to have a ridiculous season where they're considered an MVP candidate. But I think both of them really take another step in their kind of development and be the guys that they were selected to be, early in the first round.